All right. Dipan, just stay on. We'll come back to you. We need to address that big story, right, which played out in the last, 18 to 24 hours. A large media giant is now in the making with Reliance Industries' deal with Disney to create an $8.5 billion behemoth in the media space. To discuss more on this, we have Raj Nayak, founder and managing director at House of Cheer, joining us. And in a bit, we'll get an analyst as well. Raj, always nice speaking to you. Good to hear your voice after a long time. Now what happens is with this JV, Reliance Disney, we will have three players, three market leaders in the streaming space, right? This JV, then Netflix and Amazon. How do you see things play out from here?
First of all, this is a big news, and good morning, Sonia, to you. This is a very big news. We were all expecting it. There were speculations, but finally, now that it's the cat is out of the bag, I think it's I'm looking at it from Reliance's point of view and Disney's point of view to start with. I think it's a great marriage that has happened. Of course, together, I think there will be their assets, both of them have assets in terms of content, and Disney Star is a big brand, and so is Jio and Viacom. So I think together they will strategically, it makes a lot of sense for them because there's so much of synergies that they will be able to bring in. So from that point of view, I think on the streaming platform, I don't think their competition to that extent is Netflix and Amazon, but more of Google. And I think what this will allow them to do is if they merge both the entities, which is Disney Hotstar, Jio Cinema, they already have Woot, they have Hulu abroad. If they bring all of them together, I think they will be the leader, at least in the content streaming place outside of Google and Meta, because that's where most of the advertising revenue is going at the moment. And two is it will also allow them, everybody's only talking about the Indian market, but if they come together with Hulu, Disney, Jio Cinema, Woot, all put together, I think there's a huge opportunity for them to go international as well.
Raj, hi, good morning. As they say, invert, always inward. So let's look at the other side. We'll talk more about, what the benefits of this for the entities involved are. But let me ask you whether this will hurt the other players. Because this is large consolidation. But what about, the Sun TVs of the world, the Z and others in the space? Do you think this poses a risk?
It definitely poses a risk for the simple reason that I think the small players are going to get hurt, whether you like it or not, because the cost of content is only going up. And in the television space, we all only look at streaming. Everybody's only about streaming. But the fact is that between Disney Star, they are a huge player in the television space. So is Viacom 18 in the television space. I think to a large extent, they'll have a huge market share. So that's one. And both are into regional as well. So it will definitely in some way or the other impact regional players in the television space. And where OTT is concerned, where streaming is concerned, I don't think besides Netflix and Amazon, Google, Meta, and to a certain extent, Sony Live, but to a large extent, I think the main players from the broadcaster side were Jio Cinema and Disney Hotstar, and they coming together, I think at least the smaller players will get impacted in a big way.
Okay, all right. Hi, Raj. Nigel on this side, and good to see you. And after very, very long, good to have you on the show. Well, let's have Abneesh as well into this conversation. Abneesh, good morning, and thanks so much for joining in. I wanted to ask you about, in terms of an SOTP, how much does this deal add for Reliance? I'm reading a couple of brokerage notes, and some of them hadn't factored in Viacom into your calculations. Case in point being Jeffries. So they have assigned close to around 40 rupees now post this deal. What about you?
So I can comment on the media aspect.
Yes.
I don't cover Reliance, so I'm not the right person to comment on that. But clearly,
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, clearly 5 key things. One is, of course, we need to see how CCI gives the approval, because my sense is in some of the things, the 40% will get reached. Second is definitely for Z and Sun TV, the listed entities, this is negative because they will become 1/3 or 1/5 the size of this merged entity, which will be 25,000 crore versus that rest of the players are much smaller. There will be 4 to 6% revenue synergy benefit And we'll also need to see that the sports, which has been a big loss-making business for Hotstar, my sense is long-term it will become profitable because now both digital and TV rights will be controlled by this entity. So a lot of positives. I think in media, winner takes it all, and this will become the big daddy of Indian media. So negative for other players.
Absolutely. So this is going to become the big daddy of Indian media. Got that. But Abneesh, you know, what are the implications for the broader landscape now? Because this is a sort of pattern we are seeing with a lot of US companies, right? Where they are consolidating their interest in the Indian market that has been challenged because of a slowdown in advertising. The macro picture has sort of worsened a bit compared to what we've seen last year, especially in the media space. So your thoughts on whether things could get difficult for the merged entity despite, you know, having market leadership?
So three key things. India is a very exciting market. What will happen is subscription rates which the customer pays, that will clearly go up. So honeymoon phase of the Indian subscriber, wherein there was so much of competition, I think that will clearly go away. So subscription revenue will become much higher in terms of the sports business. Coming to why this was done by Disney, clearly Jio bagging the rights of IPL digital. That I think was the big disruption which Jio did. Due to that, 2.5 crore subscriber loss happened to Hotstar. Plus, Disney also became the promoter of this business due to the merger which happened globally 4-5 years back. They also had a different view of sports. So I would say that just because Disney is kind of reducing the stake in the India business, that doesn't say that this is not a good business. It's a good business. Clearly, last mile connectivity is there with Jio. And my sense is on advertising and subscription, clearly there will be huge headroom for the merged entity to go up.
Okay, winner takes all. So it's a win for the Reliance Group, while it could not be such good news for the other listed entities. Since we're going to be tracking the markets in the next 15 minutes, you know, Sun TV has also been under pressure. I think it's corrected 10% in the last 1 month or so. So the street was sensing, you know, that there's going to be a big challenge coming their way. And Zee has their own problems. What's the updated target price on both these two?
So we will build that once the approval process comes, because now this merged entity has to go through the approval process. Our sense is some of the businesses will need to be divested, and in the next 3 quarters we'll get clarity. But clearly we are negative on Zee. On Sun TV, there is a almost 4,500 crore kind of a cash in the books. We'll need to see what they do with that. Ideally, the other players like Zee, Sun and Bharti, I think they will have to think how things can be done differently, because on one hand, you have this merged entity which has the last mile connectivity also.
Okay, just before we wrap up this discussion, Raj, any final thoughts from your end on what this behemoth could do to the Indian media landscape over the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, I think, you know, everybody keeps saying that now people start paying for IPL and things like that. But irrespective, I think it would, whether it is Hotstar, I mean, whether it's Star or whether it is Jio Cinema, they would have eventually charged for IPL. That would have happened. What this will do, it will expedite the process for sure. That's one. Two is even advertising. I think, you know, if you look at Super Bowl that happened recently, people paid $7 million for a 10-second spot. And you have an audience of 123 million, and IPL has 500 million plus viewers. And we are still charging about less than 100,000, I think $60,000 for a 10-second spot. I think advertising in India has always been, I know my friends in advertising will not like me saying this, but you know, it hasn't actually been, I think we are under-indexed. I think there is an opportunity, and this will definitely help advertising go up. We are still only 0.4% of the GDP where advertising ratio is concerned. I think this has an opportunity to lift the overall advertising rates up. On one side, that's on one side. On the other side, like I said, with any consolidation, the smaller players will get impacted.
Okay, well, we hope advertising goes up, right? For everyone's sake. Thanks a lot, Raj, for joining in, and thank you, Abneesh, as well, for participating in this discussion. In fact, Shireen spoke with Vallabh Bhansali of Enam Holdings to get his reaction on this Reliance Disney deal. Let's listen in.